Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back, another week. Hope everybody's doing well. How many people do we got here? I think we're at peak 8. Yeah, we'll get started. Okay, welcome back, guys. Gotta get started with another breakdown first. Ooh, gold pushed. Gold is pushing. Market open isn't until around 11:04, which is gonna be an hour and a bit, an hour and a half. So don't think we're gonna stay till then, but at least we can do an analysis to see where gold kind of closed for the week, the day, and see what potentially might happen for next week. But yeah, let's start with this analysis. Chat's kind of dry today. We just have Tom in here. Who else is here? How do we have nobody? Nobody in chat. Right, we have another weekly closure, I think, with no top wick. Monthly still pushing, right? Monthly pushing. You're making structure as you're going up on your smaller time frame, but on your monthly time frame, just one candle that hasn't closed. Right, you have currently no top wick for your previous candle, no bottom wick for your current candle, no top wick for your current candle. Right, so if you are going to continue driving, expecting a break the highs before you're coming down, at least for this week, right? Adnan, welcome from Turkey. What time is it in Turkey? Probably quite late, I think. But yeah, so no top wick, right? So I'm expecting if price does want to drive down, it probably needs to go up, start creating some structure before coming down, right? Because now we've created structure going up, right? So if we want price to continue down, we probably want liquidity and then a break of structure here, retest of certain highs, and then we'll see this coming down, right? But until these steps happen, we're still expecting price to continue up, right? And whether that's a break of the highs for liquidity or whether that's a break of the highs to continue going up, we'll see that on the smaller time frame. But as it's looking, right, I'm pretty much expecting price to continue pushing, maybe towards this kind of 2400 mark. But we'll see, right? So that's the key thing for the monthly. Nothing really we can really say besides it's just extremely bullish. Weekly, right? Weekly, again, we have a closure, right? Next week's candle is going to open. And it's going to open at 23.30. 23.30 is going to be where it opens. Expecting at least a bottom wick and at least a top wick for next week, right? Just because, you know, we're probably looking for liquidity to be grabbed even if you want to go down. And if you want to go up, right, it can continue to push. So we'll do something like this, right? But if it just does something like this, it's going to be difficult for us to get trades off the bat, right? We're going to need to see structure getting formed in the middle around these areas. But if it does come down for a bottom wick first, right, and then flips, we can look to take these positions to continue going up, right? Cool. So, all right, so weekly again, right, you have no top wick. Previous week, no top wick, but you closed above the range, right? This week, just based off the weekly, I don't know what the range is because you haven't formed any kind of resistance anywhere. So what does that mean, right? It means that we can't do anything, right? We just have to wait. We have to wait till price prints some structure before we're able to take price going up, right? So weekly, can't really say too much. Daily is looking like we could potentially get a push, but there's also a chance this could be the start of a reversal, right? And I'll explain that just in a bit. But let's mark out our ranges really quickly. So we have a range over here, top of the range around this sort of area. And then our next range was kind of like, let's say our support was here, but we have some smaller ranges here that we can't really identify on a daily. And we currently, let's say, right, because it hasn't really formed yet, but we have some resistance somewhere above there, right? So on the daily, you had a range breakout above this 2300 mark, right? So now that you've broken out of that range, we expected a push up, right? So has this filled the entire range? We don't know because we don't know what the top of the range is. But because it closed with no top wick, this could mean that this is the start of liquidity potentially to come down, right? So on the daily, I'm still bullish, but I'm a little bit non-biased for tomorrow, I would say. Like buys would work well, but sells would also work well, but it just depends on the structure in the smaller time frame. Just based on the daily, daily's not giving me enough information to take any trades off the rip, and probably even during Asian, right? Asian could be a little bit slow, depends on how we gap up or gap down if we do. but as it's looking now, it's going to be a little bit difficult. All right, so let's move everything for the 4, right? The 4 hour looks like we have something like this, right? We had a previous kind of break of some of the lows to come down, because if we zoom into the 4 hour here, right, you had some structure here. You didn't break these lows to continue going up, so you don't have like an official liquidity grab below certain ranges, but you have a range fill down, right? You also broke this low, so maybe that's the lower time frame low that you broke to continue going up, right? So look at this, right? So you started going up here, you faked out to come back down, right? Expecting some nice sells to come down. So sells between here and here were nice. I think this was Thursday, Friday. Yep, so Friday, that was good. And then as you continue going up, right, you're expecting this to be a higher time frame liquidity grab on your 4 to continue popping up, right? So after you got a breakout here, potentially on your hourly or whatever, probably clean to continue going up. This was quite a far breakout though, so a little bit difficult, but I would say in general for your 4 hour, right, you've formed a resistance here, but you haven't formed, you formed a support here, haven't formed a resistance. I have no idea if price is going to continue pushing up with, you know, clean traffic to the left because it's all-time highs, or if it's going to start rejecting. No idea, right? So let's identify it on the smaller time frame, right? 1 hour. 1 hour is interesting because we have the top of the range. Let's move this down to around here. Bottom of this range, I'm going to put it around, I'm going to put it here. That's going to be where my bottom of the range is, 22.67, right? And you have some other ranges here, but it doesn't really matter too much because we're all the way up here now, right? So if we identify this as the bottom of the range and this as the top of the range, you could say we're within this 1 hour range. But I would say you also have an hourly breakout above this level, which is 23.27, right? No top wick, and you haven't broken this high, but you still have an hourly breakout. So any given point, right, we mentioned that if you want to start coming down, you need to grab liquidity, right? So if this is a liquidity grab for us to come down, what we'll see on the smaller time frame, which is the hourly in this case, probably going to see something like this, right? A closure back below, right? Maybe something like that, right? But this is, so the way I've drawn this is very important, right? Because number one, we have a breakout below this level in terms of a candle closure. Number two, we have a wick breakout. Oops. We have a, I don't want a horizontal ray. We have a wick breakout below this level, right? So this wick is also very important. And we have a strong bearish candle closure, right? So these things kind of need to happen, and that will depend on how price gaps, right? I am expecting a bit of a gap, maybe around like 20 to 30 pips at least, just because of how the daily, weekly have closed. But based off of that, right, I'm expecting price probably to need a bottom wick before we're going up, right? And if it doesn't print, then cool. I'm not going to be able to take any buys above this 23.30 level. I'm going to wait for price to probably do something like this, right? If it wants to continue pushing up, cool, right? And then if it then starts consolidating, right, then yeah, amazing, right? It might break the lows, break the highs. In this case, I don't even know if I'll get the buys for that, right? And in this case, I might be just waiting for price for a little bit. If it's coming back into the range and then repushing, then I'll take the buys to go up. If not, I could be looking for some sells to go down, right? And why am I not taking these buys to go up? Because any given point, your weekly, your daily has no bottom wick, right? Your monthly also has no bottom wick. The monthly doesn't matter as much, but the weekly, the daily, they're very important because you've closed with no top wick on both candles, right? So any given point, the sells can happen as well. As a result, that's basically going to be it. There's not too much we can do. I would say that just based off of the 1 hour, right? The 1 hour being, I can't go back, but like if we potentially close like this, right, below the range with like maybe no top wick and then breaking the previous wick low, we could see some sells to come down. I'm gonna need some pretty strong confirmations though, because like I'd like to see a top wick at least, and then I'll probably only take it up to the wick fill. I won't be taking this any further, right? Because any given point, price is still very, very bullish, right? This could be a higher high, right? If it gaps up a little bit, higher high to come down, grab liquidity before it goes up. I would say if it comes up to break this high now, I can't take any sells to come down, I would say, right? I'm gonna need to see price probably come down and then come all the way back up to create that top wick and then reflip bearish for me to take the sells in that case. But for buys to go up, relatively simple. Going to be waiting for breakouts above here, but with the bottom wick for your daily, which is going to be, you know, either within this range or kind of just breaking below this 23 22 mark. So it's going to be a little bit far away. Your 30-minute, yeah, just started pushing up. Like no bottom wick, no top wick. Your previous candle closed within the range. I wouldn't be surprised if you just started closing back within the range, right? Like something like this. Wouldn't be surprised, right? With not much of a top wick either, right? So if something like that happens, we can look for a top wick to re-break, and then maybe we can even get some flips to come down if that happens. All right, because at that point, your daily, if it opens up here, right, you will have no top wick. So if it comes up to create a top wick and then starts flipping, I'll probably not look for this entry actually. I'll look for the cells below this area, 23, 22. So what I'll look for actually is this. So a breakout below this range probably with a top wick like this. Then after this, I'll probably look for another top wick to come down. And I might be looking for wick entries instead here. I won't be looking for, I'll probably look for a wick entry somewhere around these areas. But yeah. And then that's probably going to be my position. Let's have a look on the smaller time frame. Your 15 also closed respecting the range. Your 5 is kind of like, yeah, your 5 also respected the range, right? So any given point, this 5 pushing up could have just been, you know, either price is driving and gold just wants to continue going up, or this could be the start of a liquidity grab finally, right? So cool. Very interesting price though. We are very much at the peak of gold price. I wanted to say that your daily, right, because your daily looked like this, no top wick. You know how we identified on the hourly just now? You could see a bearish candle to come down. Looking at all the kind of times that's happened before, look at this, right? Massive push up, previous candle no top wick, similar to our daily no top wick, weekly no top wick, coming up, grabbing this liquidity just to come down, right? Obviously you went back up, but at this point, right, we can take this trade and we don't have to care about what happens next. Get in, get out, right? Break at the highs again, like look at like some of these, right? You know, close within the range, break the highs, come back down to fill the range. So again, right, in this case you didn't get a breakout below here, so probably no positions to come back down, but that's kind of the idea we're looking for. So sells obviously could work. I'm also anticipating that there's a percentage chance that if price were to drive down for this hourly to come down here, right, our daily could look something like this. And this is something I was thinking about on Friday as well, which is very, very interesting. Like your daily could look something like this. Alright, and if it looks something like this, we've seen this structure many times before, right? Something like this where it just kind of grabs liquidity, comes back into the range. Then, in this case, we probably have quite a nice wick fill, right? So we have a nice wick fill to our left for this daily candle, right? But also this bottom of the range down to 22.67, right? So top wick down, and this could be the start of us coming back down, right? And this could be coming down just to grab liquidity before we're able to go back up, right? So if we draw the whole picture out, this could be what it looks like, right? This could be exactly what we're looking for, right? But eventually, right, price needs to come down to grab liquidity, but we're not going to just, you know, blindly get into a trade now, right? We're going to wait to see if price does close relatively bearish for us. If it does, we'll look for potential sells. But that's what I potentially would say could happen for the daily candles and the daily structure. But yeah, we'll see how the gap kind of opens up as well, and that will definitely influence a lot of things as well. But yeah, that's basically analysis. Bias, again, just to recap, is a bit mixed today, just because no top wick on your daily, no top wick on your basically all your time frames really. So yeah, that's basically it. Let's see if the boys are here. We've got 3 boys.
Yo.
How
What's up?
Yeah, not
Good.
much. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good. What have you been up to?
Just chilling really. Kind of
Nice.
like after the long Easter weekend, just kind of 4-day work week, and then now it's like another holiday. I mean, it's quite nice, man. Like, yeah. But then we have 4 or 5 days again, and then it's gonna start racking up again. But yeah, we'll see. What did you guys get up to?
Just working, to be honest.
More work. Jesus, man.
Yeah.
Get some rest, man. You got work tomorrow and for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I know. I'm going away next week though, so that should be
Oh, nice. Where are you going?
good. To Italy for a bit.
Ah, for how long?
Only a few days. I'm gonna go short. Just less than a week, I think.
Is there a bank holiday or something?
No.
Oh, you're just
No.
going. Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be nice. I think the weather's not bad.
I was thinking like I don't know if I want to like trade while I'm away or not.
I mean, I think it really depends. Like, if you actually have a proper setup, or like if you're used to trading on your phone, then maybe, right? But at the end of the day, you want to take the quality trades, and you don't want to be managing if you're having dinner and you're like, in a different country and the Wi-Fi's kind of shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not ideal. Then time frames are kind of different. You're waiting for your 4 hour. Then you can't really relax, right? So it depends, right? If you are really expecting a trade or whatever, then maybe. But for most of it, I would say just relaxing, because you're only there for a couple of days. Just make the most of it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I'll probably do that as well.
Yeah, because I'm going to Japan for the beginning of May, and I'm gonna be for the entire of May basically. There's gonna be no streams for like three and a half weeks basically.
Dude, how long are you there for? Fuck.
Well, I've only taken like 15 days holiday, so
Wow.
plus 2 weekends, right? So that's 15 plus 4, that's 19, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna take like 2 sick days because I'm going to be sick, right? So I had 20 odd days. But I don't think I'll be trading at all for those 20 days. Like zero. Because completely different time frame, first of all, right? I'm in Asia. So I don't want to be trading my main time frame as Asian session, and I don't want to be looking at trades if I'm like out eating or whatever, and Wi-Fi is inconsistent, so yeah, just gonna leave it for 3 weeks.
I was also thinking that because might be going to Asia like over summer, and I was thinking, does that mean I'll start trading Asian session? I don't know. It's a weird one.
Yeah, I mean, thing is, it really depends. Like, for example, like, ComFX, right? He's properly traveling the entire time. So he's like adapted in a way where he can trade on the go, and he kind of like adapts to the sessions as well. So he's fine. But like for us who were based in one location, to then like move to a completely different country and then just start trading a different session, all of that, it's probably different, quite relatively difficult. I'd say you need some level of adjustment. Like Wix, for example, right?
Yeah.
He's traded Asian session so much now that he knows how Asian session will go. So if we ask him things about Asian session, we'll find probably things that are slightly different to how things work on gold, right? Just because maybe it's not a directional thing in terms of like prices. Like during New York, we have news, so it picks up the direction towards the end of the day, and it just kind of continues to follow that motion. Maybe during Asian, it's because like daily opening up, they have no top wick, no bottom wick. Not really sure what you do, right? So for our typical trades, we're waiting for top wicks, waiting for bottom wicks, but we don't. So how do you trade Asian? Right. So
yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I reckon just holiday wise, especially because we're working as well, right? Like you got a job, so. No need to make anything from trading.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. We had a question. Were you in Don's trade that lost and never grabbed liquidity? Oh, it's this trade, right? I think Don took a large loss. Where was the entry? It was a sell.
Right.
79, right? Somewhere around here.
It's a signal.
I think so, yeah. And then stops were here. 2308 or something.
280 pips stop.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Break all-time highs. I mean, the stop was, fair enough, right? Because all-time highs, you gotta just stop pumping. I mean, rightfully so, because you pumped another 150 to what, like 200 pips. So not bad. You probably could have changed the buys here. I think I took a little bit of. I may have took like a buy here. But yeah, like I think it didn't come back down to grab liquidity in the sense of like a bottom wick here, right? But overall, I would say the trade idea, in terms of the higher time frame, because I don't know if you guys remember on Thursday.
I thought he was
I thought he was in sales from Asian session here, right? And then
Yeah, I think
no, he was
$2.79.
in buys.
Yeah, we were in some. Yeah, so I'll break it down. Like, so I think initially, if we go down to the smaller time frame, you know, on Thursday, guys, when we were on the stream, I was like, yeah, I'm probably bearish for gold 1st because you broke the high, then you broke the low, right? I think I was looking for sells to come down, and then I think he looked for some buys around here, and then obviously it started coming down, so it didn't really make too much sense. And then I think we closed it off.
But the
somewhere.
thing that I was looking at is that you guys closed, because I stayed in the trade. I took the signal, but I stayed in the trade because the 4-hour had just opened, and then I don't know. I think it was this 4-hour. So we had open, and then this like we closed like the position like right here, and it was like 20 minutes into the 4-hour. So I was like, well, if that's the beginning of the 4-hour, let me just see it like if it's gonna close like actually or respecting, and that's what I did, and then I ended up closing in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, if you were looking at this level as your main 4-hour support, then yeah, you would have been fine. But I think the issue is, even if it wants to come down, like if we draw out the trade, right, like from here, say we got into like a buy, I think it was like around here, the stop for the 4-hour stop, right, is going to be below this. That's 230. So I think our stops were probably like below some of these lows here, or like maybe even this low here. Or I think, wait, what was it? It was like literally our stops were below this candle here, and then we got stopped, and then we got into some sells right after or something. But I think the idea was because of how on Thursday you broke the high, then broke the low. I was bearish to come down, right? So I think he got into a buy, didn't really work out. We got hit, and then it grabbed liquidity, right? So in terms of your higher time frame play, La Maison on the YouTube. This is the 4-hour liquidity grab for you to come up, right? So if you analyze the candles, right, we're understanding that this break of the highs, break of the lows is on your 4-hour time frame. That's fine. On your hourly time frame as well, that's fine. But in terms of your overall structure, you're very bullish, right? So I think the buys at that point made sense in the sense where you're looking at, you know, price looking to continue going up, which it did, right? We just grabbed a little bit more liquidity, and this was the liquidity grab. Right, the only difference is we were looking at potentially, right, so as price here was closing into this range, obviously not much of a bottom wick for this 4-hour. Next candle just started pumping and break of these lows, expecting a push here. I think I don't know which time we got in, but like I don't know where it was we got in.
The original buys too, the stop was 22.64, so we didn't even hit stops.
Oh, I think we just close full.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. I think it's because we're anticipating this to drop, right? Look at this. This was clean traffic to come down, and that's like 100 pips.
But then, wouldn't it make sense to because if you were to say, oh, well, I'm not going to have any stop loss because I'm going to wait for price to close against me, doesn't it make sense to wait for the higher time frame to close against you?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. But also, if you know it's going to drop 100 pips, and I think like, you know, like this is pretty clean traffic come down to at least here, and then on your hourly and your 4-hour, it is literally like just a range fill down. Like you save yourself 100 pips of stops, right? And any given point, even though this may close back into this range, right? You have a closure below, so this could drive, and even if it closes respecting here, probably a break of some lows to come back up. So that's probably what you're worried about. I think right after though, so we got stopped out here. The sells here were just because after this close like this, expecting a wick fill on your 4 to come down, right? So liquidity, you have no bottom wicks on these candles, no bottom wick on this candle, expecting it to flip to come down. And then this is, I think, where we just got hit by the 4-hour, just kind of fake out to come back up, right? Or your 4-hour just liquidity grab as a whole. If this was your range, you established this range based off of these candles here, came down, no bottom wick, grab liquidity to go up. It just took 8 hours to play out. These two candles, 8 hours, right? And then it started closing back into this range. It did come down for news though, so at news I think we were pretty close to break even, but we didn't close, and then just got hit at stops. I think I got out of the trade around here for like 40.
Oh, so you left early.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because like if I just look at all this, I'm like, if it does want to come down, it would have come down earlier. If this was a liquidity grab. If it wasn't, you're expecting a steeper liquidity grab back into this area, and then your 4 hours probably looking to continue going back up. So that's what I was worried about. And I ended up not catching the sells here because obviously we're bullish to go up, and then I took some buys on the break of this 30 candle here because this was news, came down all the way and then started flipping afterwards, break at the 30-minute high. I literally took it to that pip there. I think it was took like 20 or something, and then after that took another position on the break of this high. I think I closed, I don't even remember, that was on Friday, 2 days ago, man. Got a goldfish memory. Yeah, some relatively large stops that got hit, but it's all right. It happens. Signal chat was going nuts though.
Oh, are they not happy?
Oh my god! It absolutely it was fucking madness basically.
Why did he?
Yeah.
Have you talked to Don?
I think yeah, I've been chatting to him. I mean, it's just another standard stop loss hit trade.
I mean, the way I just say it like that because just the stacked positions right after the original loss. Like if it was, I guess it just seems like a bad trade in terms of, I don't know, maybe psychology.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I think by the way it looks on the signals, because it's signals, you have to put it into a bit of perspective as well. Like there is no human to human communication there. It is just what he's done on the page, right? So I think, yes, like he took a buy here and then we got stopped and then he immediately took a sell or whatever. I think the issue with that is he's getting in, like he's done stacked positions so many times in the past, right? For him, it's just, he's just bringing it back for this one trade because he's expecting it to probably come down relatively heavy and like probably not like just the wick fill or something. So he'll probably get out at like 10 pips or whatever. I think to some degree, yeah, I would agree that stacked positions are kind of like a psychological thing. But at the end of the day, the trade concept, I think, is the same. And I think what Signal Chat was really like unhappy about was the fact that he took 4 stacked positions. But again, at the end of the day, you don't need to take 4 stacked positions, right? You just
Was that 4 pineapples or 4 positions when in profit?
It ended up being 8 positions total. 4 positions on the first position.
Was there 4 on this?
It was no, that was
1, right?
It was 1 and then another pineapple and then stopped and then 4 sales stacked.
4 cells stacked, yeah, and then we hit stops for 200, so like 800 odd, 900 pips.
Wait, and were they all stacked?
I took
when you say stacked, are you meaning like they're all basically at the same point?
So this one was one
the
here,
first.
one
Let me.
pineapple, and then
Well, yeah.
And then but the second one.
Second was
Okay.
4
The second one was 4 stacked off the rip, and then we had 4 stacked pineapples, and then those pineapples came to break even. He closed those, and then he closed those 4 break even pineapples, and then we had 4 pineapples like somewhere up here, and then that position, and then it was stop set.
Wait, no, we had 4. Did we have another pineapple here?
Yeah, later on he added 4 more. Remember?
I wasn't there.
Well, if you just check the signals, it's like until the bot disconnected, and then I don't know if the bot got disconnected or what.
Where was it?
I can see why people may have got.
I mean, I took the thing that I was looking at is just the price action. Like it just didn't make sense.
He only took 1 entry at 2279.64 here.
Let me see.
He took 4 at that level, and then no more pineapples.
After the original buys, right?
Yeah, the last trade was the 4 stacked.
4 sales, and then he took 4 more sales, and then he closed 4 sales, and then he opened 4 more sales.
Yeah, the 4 more sales is that I don't know, what was that? 2279.33, right?
The 4 more sales, yeah.
Yeah, that was the last position. And the stacked 4 one. Yeah, so
it was 2 positions, just 8 stacked on 2 or 4 stacked on 2.
Yeah.
Or 3 positions, but he closed 1 position.
Yeah, so this one, the sell here was in profit, and then we got hit break even. It's fine. And then this next one, I think there was 4 stab.
I think it made sense for him to close the like
The
I would.
first
It
one?
made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second position, like the second
Yeah, the second
pineapple.
one, yeah.
Yeah, when it came back to break even, and then when he took the other one, that also made sense because it's like, well, if it's gonna reject here,
Yeah.
you know, I think. Since,
The sells were nice to come down. I think we saw a bit of profit, but then it got hit stops, and then we took another sell later on, expecting this to be, you know, like if it is following structure, right?
Yeah, you'd expect it to structure its
Right,
way
so
down.
to
Right?
at least bottom wick to come up. So, and I guess the bottom wick happened here, right? So this was a 4-hour bottom wick, or like a daily bottom wick essentially, right? So if we look at the daily, yeah, like daily, right? Daily bottom wick, breaking previous to come back up. That's basically what it was. Yeah, that's basically it. So back to Lamazor's question. Yeah, I was in that trade, but I exited the last one a little bit earlier. Have you ever analyzed your charts on the 75-minute time frame? Didn't even know that was a thing. So what is that? An hour and 15? Why would you do that to yourself? You'd have to make that a custom thing. No, I don't. No, unfortunately, I've never analyzed on the 75-minute. If it works for you, though, feel free, man. It might work, and I'm just missing out. So if it does, come back to me in like half a year, and if you're really profitable, I will all in on your trades. And thank you ahead of time.
So does that, with that amount of loss, does that mean that account's basically gone?
What is this? What is this? About like 280 or something, right? 280. So times 4, that's like more than 1,000 pips.
It's like what, 1,000.
About 1K
100.
pips, right? Let's say 1K pips. So what is that? Around 300K.
So yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think his account was at like 400 up, wasn't it? I don't know what it was.
I don't know.
No idea. But like he did a massive withdrawal previously, so again, part of his entire portfolio wise, it's probably a big loss for him as well. Like I don't know, like at least like what 5-10% or something like that. But in terms of, you know, yeah, for him it's probably just another loss. So we'll just come back again. I think he is streaming tomorrow, so you guys will have time to ask questions if you have any.
One thing I was thinking about, like in this trade, I guess it's a good example. Like when since we base our stop losses like off of higher time frame structure, I guess you could say. Like say if we had sales here, our stops were up here, right?
Yeah.
You could say, well, if in terms of your whole account, like if I don't want to say percentage wise, because I guess yeah, like if you say 100 pips is 1%, I guess I'm talking for myself, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't need to talk for nobody else. I need to talk for myself. But yeah, so if you're saying 100 pips for like your stop, right?
Yeah.
Like if my original stop is this, right? And let's say that's like 300 pips, so that's like 3%.
Yeah.
Well, once price is like closing, I feel like even though like it's still the trade idea is still, oh well, I feel like if my original trade idea, I should probably just close out like once it's respecting, like once the idea is, once I'm in drawdown here, like what you did, right? So it's like
so I think on the lower time from here, I was expecting this because 4-hour no bottom wick. I was expecting price probably to come up for that top wick, but this also could be a fake out, so I exited. I think this was an okay exit here at like 40 odd. The other exit you could have waited for is either here, or if you want to be like, yeah, I really want to wait for structure and everything to print, you could have waited for this to happen. If this broke the low, which obviously it didn't, but if it did, you could have then moved your stops probably to here. But again, this is also a little bit difficult because this candle closed doji, right? So what I would need to see from this candle, ideally for me to move the stops there, is a candle that looks like this. So if I draw this candle here, right, it's like this, with like not much of a wick, and then the next candle I would need to close below this range with a top wick like this, right? And then in this case, I'll move my stops to here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you get a closure back below here plus
Because
liquidity.
you're
to
just
come
seeing
down.
what price is doing. Like you're just reacting off price. Not.
Yeah.
I feel like we get too emotional.
But
In terms of
think about
sometimes.
this, right? Because this is the hourly. So I'm not managing off the 5 or whatever. I'm managing off like at least the hourly plus the 4 hour, right? So I'm expecting, I'm looking at this, be like, okay, yeah, this 4 hour closed bearish here. If it does come back up, I'm probably expecting it to come down. So expecting it to start, rejecting to come up, because this candle at this point, I think this hourly came down, broke the low, and then started breaking the high. So I was like, okay, if it closed bearish, cool, I'll move my stops to here. And then your next candle came up, no bottom wick as well. So I was like, okay, if this has no bottom wick, I've seen this before, I could just start driving, because I'm looking left, right, I'm looking at this as well. No bottom wick, just started to drive, so I don't want to be a part of that. So yeah, that's basically it. But if it does print structure like this, you could probably move your stops a bit smaller.
I think just in terms of account balance, just like at least for how I trade, like it doesn't make sense for if my stop is originally like 100, like 200 pips or 100 pips, 200 pips plus, let's just say.
Yeah.
Like if price is just showing me something different, it's like it doesn't make sense to let the full stops get hit. But
Yeah, for sure.
at all.
I mean, again, it's also slightly.
I mean, that's what we've been saying, right? Like we've been saying, like I think Don's been saying that, right? Like he'll. But
I mean,
it's
he
just-
does move his stops as well, like depending on structure. So yeah, it's basically what we do as well. But it's just the structure in this case didn't really happen too much, and on like the higher time frame. I think also like with massive stops like these, because we're at all-time highs, I would say it's slightly more difficult to predict price action, and it's not really following too much price action, I would say. Obviously, if you really zoom out and like, it works out, but because we're scalping quite a lot, the candle movement is a little bit sporadic, a little bit like at specific times. So I mean, we can still try to, and what we can do is still apply price action to the charts, but the win rate probably drops just by a little bit because we're at all-time highs. Like price just wants to drive up at some point, and it will. Nothing we can do, right?
What was I gonna say? For stops, like I don't know, because I had some sales.
I mean, like, let's try to learn from this, right? Like, for example, you had a sell. Where was the most logical stop? I would say your most logical stop, like even if it was here, doesn't make sense, right? Because here you came up and then you had a point to exit around here, right? So in terms of price and like market structure here, right? You came down and you came back up, you rebroke this high and then you came down. So your exit point probably would have been somewhere around here. This would have been okay. But how did you know it was going to come down? And like, is this going to be, just a continuation of structure? If you put it here, you would have potentially, lost out on 140 pips, or you could have saved in terms of your stop, right? So in terms of the most logical trade, I would think it would still be here for now. Yeah, it has to be here really on the hourly, right? On your 30 as well, like all of this structure going up, you can't put it here because look, it would just get hit, continue to go up, and then just drop. Obviously this was news, so I'd like to find a non-news example to try this, but even with news, right, you did come down to grab the liquidity. This 30-minute candle for news closed bearish, so it was hovering here for a while, and then it also came down to create a bottom wick before going up. So yeah, like we'll just journal all this. I'll try to find a way to, I don't know, we'll probably need to update the journal at some point to capture more of this information.
I brought this up because I had some sales on Friday during news, like go down to the 5, or like I guess the smallest time frame for news. I would say the 1, but you probably won't see it. But yeah, it was just like the 1 minute rebreak for sales. Like
below this candle, right? Just coming down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I moved my stop loss to break even, but I messed up. Like I recorded it, so I was looking back. I moved my stops to like 100 pips above because I just mistyped. Like I put 23 instead of 22.
Oh, okay.
And
That adds a
so
K.
when the price started reversing in my position, and it didn't hit me out of break even, I was so confused. And then I looked back at the recording and I was like, crap. So I don't know why I didn't close there. I wasn't over risking, so I don't know why I didn't close there. I was just like, but then this is where I feel like I messed up because my original stops were like 2304, like just right above structure, like on the floor. And then, but then Dawn stops were like 2309. I'm not sure what it was. Just I guess just a few extra pips maybe. So I moved my stops up there, and then I was just like, I feel like I just wasn't being logical because price was showing me that it was respecting. But since I was in sales, and then since I technically should have been out the trade, I feel like I should have just exited. Regardless. Because my trade idea was already over, and if I was in the trade, I would have been out. So I should have just exited, and if anything, look for buys.
I mean, the thing is, yeah, if you had a typo there and didn't hit you out, like the idea probably is gone because it would have hit your stops, right? But
just the way we trade, it's like if your psychology isn't on point, it's so like you need to have it on lock. I feel like.
Yeah.
And I think not over risking definitely helps that. Because when you're not over risking, you're not emotionally attached to the trade.
You're just looking at the trade like, okay, yeah, what can happen, right? But if you're like, shit, this is like 20% of my account, it's like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
It moves one pit, you're like, this is fine.
Bro.
And then you just have to, like, you're just convincing yourself, like, yeah, this is a logical trade, man. Yeah. We've all been there.
And then you find the one thing you missed.
Yeah, and then you're just like, oh fuck. But then you still hold, right? Because you can't afford to lose 20%.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
I think even if you like, maybe psychologically, like if your account balance, say you have this set amount and you're like, okay, I'm risking 10% out of this account, but I know that's like 1% of my whole net worth. Yeah. Maybe even psychologically you become more attached to the trade because it just looks significantly more in the account balance. Maybe that could also play.
I think the issue with 1% of your net worth is because the issue with that is you're not ready to lose 1% of your net worth. You're ready to lose 1% of your account balance because you've deposited that. But if you then adjust that, I think that the issue, well, the problem where it kind of comes from is if you change your thought process from 1% of the balance to 1% of your total net worth. When you make that change during a trade, you're fucked. Because essentially you've increased your stop loss, right? You've moved your stop loss, basically, right? But not based off of like market structure, whatever. It's just based off a monetary thing, and you're like, I can't afford to lose this. So right. I think that's the biggest problem. But as long as if you go into trading and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna put this amount of money in this trading account, but each trade is probably gonna be like a 7-8% risk. But in terms of my overall net worth, it's like a 0.5. And if you're trading a 0.5% risk on your net worth, then that's fine, right? As long as that's the plan and you execute on it, it's fine. But yeah, like a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, you know, like I'm just, yeah, I lost 1%. And then you could look at their account and it's like, well, I mean, that's clearly 20%, man. And he's like, no, it's 1% of my net worth, you're fine. Like, okay. Man was clearly ready to lose that. Cool. Any other questions? I think Reese is coming back for April. Should be good. WFX, you're in the chat. You're not in the Zoom, brother. What?
We moved 1,000 pips on this monthly already. Is that correct?
Price is so bullish.
Wait, no, is that 1,000 pips? Or that's 100 pips. No. Wait.
Man, this is definitely not 100 pips, man. We've moved 1,000 pips.
Yeah,
23. Yeah, it's been 1,000 pips.
Yeah, 1,000. So if you've just taken a buy, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, if you just took a buy off the rip and just held, bruh, I would have made $100 on that. What? No, how much money on the 0.01?
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
but if you'd over-risked it, you could have made.
Oh, but if I over-risked it, let's look at the monthly bottom wick. That is let's zoom in on that. Where was my stop? Just on the
If you just took the flip on the
Right.
monthly,
My stop is
what's
like
that?
38.
No
50.
fucking way, dog. What the
50 pip stop, right, for your monthly?
That's
Bro, that's probably what we should do for next week. Just fucking all in.
Yeah, with no top wick on the weekly.
Yeah, just zoom.
Perfect.
How much was this top wick for this? This was a 36.2 top wick. Oh, we have literally no top wick.
Yeah, it's
a bit sus, man. I'm not gonna lie. This is like a 3-4 pip top wick or something. Bro, that's a 4 pip top wick. Yeah, like it's so difficult because you can't get.
It's not ideal.
Swings. You can't get into swings. You like nobody should have caught this entire move. Nobody. If you've caught this entire move, bro, I don't know, man. Like your last name might be Bucket or something.
If you caught that entire movie, you should probably be done trading for the rest of your
You're
life.
definitely related to Warren Buffett at that point. Right, chaps. Probably gonna be. Oh, you had a question, D Schlatter. When to wait for wick and when to open off the rip? Can't figure it out. Depends. Like, right? It depends on structure. Just everything is structure, right? Like if you've grabbed liquidity here, for example, right? You're 30. This is a good example here, right? For example, here, like this 30 news came down, broke the lows, broke all these lows, started closing below on your 5, I think, as well, right? Like your 5 closure below certain ranges and whatever, right? So, and then you started coming up, then you started coming back down again. So if you wanted to continue going down, you would have. So it was fine, but you didn't, right? And then you started re-breaking the highs and then, forming structures, you're going up. So putting a buy stop off of here or taking a buy off the rip when this flips, right? That's basically what I'm looking for. And that's, in that sense, kind of like off the rip when it flips, right? And that's a 30-minute trade. But because there was a bottom wick first. And this is because no liquidity was grabbed, right? You see all this? Slow trickle up, right? No actual liquidity being grabbed. Let's look at a different example, which I think I took. Where was it? Was it below? Like some of this was. Did I take this trade? I forgot what it was. Oh no, I took this trade. Yeah. So for example, here, right? We come down, we're just trickling down and whatever, right? And then suddenly we created this low, respected here. That's fine. Came up, grabbed liquidity, break of these highs, break of these highs. Then you have this to come down. Right? You came down all the way to here, didn't break this low. Cool. No sells for me, right? But you still haven't broken this level, so no sells for me. Cool. Then you come up to break all-time highs, right? If you're still following me, D-Slatter, and then you come all the way back down, right? Come all the way back down to here. I would have had this probably off the rip break of here, right? Obviously, I probably would have also had it off the rip here, but because I took this entry, I'm expecting this candle to close, relatively bearish, and then also giving me some pips before the closure, right? This closure below, I probably would have had something off the rip here. I would have been in how much drawdown? 90. Stop loss. Unfortunately,
That was
would have to be
market
here.
close, like right there. Remember?
What was that?
That was like market close. What was the question?
If they would like when to wait for a wick and when to open off the rip. Like this, I would have probably because this was market open, probably not. But if this was like during volume, I would have probably opened this off the rip, or looked for a wick entry. Depends. But it's because you broke the high, then re-broke the lows, and this is an all-time high break. You had a buy stop breaking all-time high, yeah, like this is valid as well, right? Because if you didn't have this print though, this bottom wick, these bottom wicks going up, the buy above here is difficult. But because you did, it's okay, right? Like if price just started reversing and start coming up, yes, this is a 4-hour bottom wick, but what's to say the 4-hour isn't just going to stop here and then start reversing to come back down and you're just hovering in this range, right? Yeah, volume a bit late, but I think What persuaded me to get into it, right? Just looking at the setups is these bottom wicks. These bottom wicks were nice. Let's come up. That's basically it. Yeah, hopefully throughout next week we'll find some more examples. But just, I mean, what's a good exercise you can try is, especially when you're looking for positions, open two, right? As like not like an actual trade, but like open two virtually on your screen. One is like a wick entry, or like open multiple. One is a wick entry, one's the flip, and one's just off the rip or something like that, right? And then just see which one plays out. And this is where the journal kind of comes in, right? If you're journaling all of this, your journal should tell you which one is the most profitable trade in terms of your own trading, right? If you're opening all these trades at different times a day, different setups and entries, and you're taking the flip, you're taking off the rip, you're taking wick entries, you're taking break of previous higher low, all of that, over time the journal will tell you, okay, which one, based off of the entry that you got, which one is the most profitable, and then you just map that back to the price action that you see on the charts. That's how to use the journal, basically. Cool. Chaps, there will be a members only tomorrow. You guys are gonna be here?
Oh yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no worries.
I might be busy.
Okay. Sounds good. Right. I will speak to you all tomorrow then. Thanks for joining up.
Yeah. Cheers, boys. Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah.
Man.
Peace.
Peace. And then for everybody on the YouTube, thanks for joining up. Thanks for your questions. Obviously, we're going into a new week. Quick recap, I think the key things, right? No top wick, daily, weekly. Expecting price to come up continuously because we're bullish, but expecting a bottom wick as well because we started to slow down a little bit. And this could be a fake out at any given point to come back down, right? Similar to this. So be a little bit careful, I would say. But yes, we're relatively bullish to go up. So yeah, that's basically the analysis for Sunday. We're not going to be here for market open, which is in about 40 odd minutes. But if you guys are watching, there likely will be some sort of gap. I don't know the direction, obviously. I'm not going to try to predict it. So yeah, just watch it if you are a trading agent. Join up Wix's stream. And yeah, that's basically it. I will see you all next on Thursday, because we have a members on Monday, and then we have 2 days of no stream, and then Thursday is the next stream. Yeah, thanks for joining up, and speak to you all soon. Have a good rest of your weekend, and peace.